New York's new gun grab. Are Democrats starting to regret Biden and the new woke brainwashing? This is the Loaded Mic, and I'm Dan Was. New York State is stockpiling their illegal gun confiscations. Extreme risk protection orders, also known as red flag laws, also known as confiscation without due process, are becoming the totalitarian tool for Governor Hochul and her henchmen. Recently, the Democrat governor signed an executive order making it mandatory that police file an extreme risk protection order application under circumstances when there is, quote, credible evidence that a person can be a risk to themselves or others. This new policy removes the option for police to decline the action, and credible seems to be vague in its definition. Last year in Suffolk County alone, judges approved 1,600 red flag confiscations. Across the state, the number of confiscations reached 4,300 in 2022. This is up from 222 in 2021, resulting in a 1,900% increase. The state of New York makes the claim that these confiscations are necessary to deal with people who may have mental issues which cause them to want to do harm to themselves or others. The obvious problem we see is that nothing is being done to evaluate their mental health and give them the help they need. Actions by the state seem to be focused purely on the confiscation of firearms. Of course, New York State is using tragedies like the Buffalo supermarket killing as justification to take guns from people who have not necessarily done anything wrong. The new state policy includes the possibility for a wider range of people to accuse others of being a risk to society. The list of those given authority to accuse and speculate on the mental stability and or level of societal risk a person may pose includes family members, police, health officials, and school officials. Now keep in mind, any of these folks who may have a hatred for the Second Amendment or irrational fear of guns can easily make accusations that are untrue. Democrat Governor Hochul is praising this new policy as a model for the rest of the nation. She claims this is a way to prevent deadly tragedies, yet makes no mention of violating the constitutional rights of Americans in the process. New York State seems to be making a habit of refusing to look at data when creating new laws that violate the constitutional rights of New York residents. In this case, an official said, quote, "Quite frankly, we didn't look at other states. We thought this would be the right step," end quote. Now, you may remember Kathy Hochul being questioned about whether she had numbers to back up gun legislation that affects lawful permit holders. Her response was, quote, "I don't need to have numbers," end quote. Now we're going to talk about this and many other things with he fascinates, captivates, and sometimes aggravates, John Chiera.
You got titillate there, Dan.
And he's a football fan, an animal lover, and he's never been known to turn down baked goods, Anthony Diso.
Wow, fat jokes. That's real nice.
All right. How's it going, guys?
I'm good.
Anthony's not happy with that. I'm sorry, Anthony. We're just trying to have some fun around here.
He had a rough day at work today.
Oh, did he? Yeah. What's going on? Tell us about
How
it.
do I arrange this stuff for my nap?
Tell us about it on the show.
There's nothing to tell.
All right, so what do you guys think about Hochul?
She's insane.
And her new mandatory red flag laws?
She's nuts. We don't have any numbers, but we think this is the right thing to do.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So we're like a test tube state here. Let's test all those stupid ideas here that never work and we can't get rid of because she ignores the Supreme Court, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
What a dummy. He loves her.
I don't know what I mean. What is her reasoning, though? I mean, she doesn't even say why she's taking them.
It must look good to somebody on paper.
I mean, I could see domestic violence. Yeah, gun should be pulled from the house. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, here's the problem with that. What if domestic violence is just an accusation.
No, I'm saying if the woman was actually
beat.
The gun's got to come out of the house.
So a lot of the problem with this stuff is that people can make false accusations. The New York State red flag law is written around school officials. Now, a school official is anybody who's certified, and that includes a substitute teacher. So, I used to always talk about this because you can have little Johnny, not you, but little Johnny.
I get it, with his tricycle.
A little Michael, a little whoever, can go out in the playground and get in a fight on the playground, and a substitute teacher can look at it and think he's a risk to society. So she can make an accusation. She can report this little kid to the police. The judge has the authority to confiscate the kid's father's guns or mother's guns from the house.
Cool.
All based on an accusation. So what do we do? I guess the question is, what do we do to safeguard people from false accusations? That's the big problem.
Yeah, you're not gonna do it. If the cops show up to the house and there's evidence of an abuse, then
that's something that you can actually measure, something you can actually see.
That's different than a teacher making an accusation.
Well, even an ex-wife or ex-girlfriend can make an accusation that might not be
That's
true.
happened before, right? And then somebody's left defenseless because somebody else said something.
Yeah. And this new policy that she's basically strengthening the existing red flag laws. The new policy says that it's mandatory for police now to confiscate the guns if there's so-called credible evidence, but they don't define credible.
Well, that's the thing with all this. All these left-wing policies all depend on someone defining something, and we never find out who that someone is.
It's created so they can define it on the spot, or they can define it later in court. It's awful.
It's awful. I agree.
So we got a big show ahead of us today, but I did want to talk about Cali Key. Cali Key is one of our great sponsors. We really love this company, especially if you live in a blue state where your Second Amendment is under attack. This little device here, the Cali Key, is removes your AR from the definition of assault weapon. So when they create these so-called assault weapon lists, or the ban lists, they're created, but they exclude manually operated bolt-action firearms. So just by dropping this little key in there, this Cali Key, in your direct impingement AR in place of your semi-automatic BCG, you will have a bolt-action rifle that falls outside the definition of an assault weapon. That's all you need to do. You don't need to do anything else. And by doing that, you could retain all your rifle's features, avoid registration complications, revive your black rifle sales if you're an FFL, regain the ability to do private party transfers, legally transport across hostile jurisdictions, hunt with your AR in places like Pennsylvania, and it enhances long-range precision, quiet or suppressed shooting. Cali Key has state-specific expert attorney opinions on its website and supports grassroots Second Amendment organizations with its sales. Cali Key's mission is to empower customers and claw back our civil liberties. So go to CaliKey.com, and use the discount code LOADED, like as in Loaded Mike. So I think we got a ton of stuff on the show today and some real funny stuff. So I want to get through some of this. So I think it's time for a woke patrol.
Woke Patrol.
Yeah, we don't want to do anything to scare your children. That's the last thing we want to do. We don't want to scare anybody.
In this woke patrol, we find another left-wing lunatic expressing his need for social justice and vaccine compliance. Check this out.
Swear to God, if you
I'm offended that our children are not receiving affordable gender reassignment surgery along with hormone blockers and access to abortions. This alone is a threat to our democracy. It just shows that you people do not care about our children and that these are the same people people who refuse to obey the science and get fully vaccinated. It's science, people! Science! Science!
How do you not laugh if you're watching that?
Oh, God, can you imagine that board?
How can you be on that board and not be laughing right now? I'd be under the desk.
How did he even get in there to address these people? Like,
I don't know.
What kind of a setup is that?
But there's been a lot of talk about the election fraud that occurred in 2020, the presidential election, including burst pipes and cardboard on the windows and dead people voting, illegal ballot box stuffing, and stopping the vote count for a few hours in the middle of the night, only to find Crooked Joe magically in the lead when counting resumed. But some new evidence has surfaced, which may further expose the dirty election hacking committed by the filthy Democrats. Let me read you a little bit.
Filthy.
Did I say that?
You did.
Professor and election expert Jay Halderman hacks into Dominion voting machine in court in Georgia in front of Judge Totenberg using only a pen to change the vote totals. After speaking to election integrity expert Garland Favorito, we discovered the courtroom display was much more serious than we originally reported, says Alex Halderman, as he demonstrated in court how Dominion machines are hacked and their tabulations were altered. This is an article, by the way, from the Gateway Pundit.
How old is that article? Is that new? Or?
This is nope. It's this month. It's just a couple days ago. So this is new stuff, and it's not the only article that's coming out on
That
this.
doesn't mean anything, though. Come on, Dan.
What do you mean?
How often can that happen and make a difference? Does it make a difference?
Nope.
Yeah, no.
Not at all.
Well, in 23, the Federal District Court in Northern District of Georgia unsealed the 96-page Halderman report. Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger had been hiding this report from the public for 2 years. University of Michigan professor of computer science and engineering, Halderman, and security researcher and assistant professor at Auburn University, Drew Schringel, collaborated on the report where they discovered many exploitable vulnerabilities in the Dominion voting system. It's called ImageCast X system. Now, a far-left judge, Amy Totenberg, sealed and covered up the results of the investigation of Dominion voting machines in Georgia and sat on the report until this past week. The report confirmed that votes can be altered in the Dominion voting machines. In fact, the report revealed that the Dominion software is vulnerable and can be hacked. Following a release, Voter GA founder Garland Favorito joined Steve Bannon on the War Room to discuss the findings from the explosive report. So, more proof? Are we still going to pretend that it didn't get stolen?
Yep.
At least have a question, right? I mean, that's the thing. Don't you have a question about this? It's like,
Well, what would it look like if Republicans were cheating like the Democrats and the Democrats had this evidence?
it's ridiculous.
It'd be on the news 24/7.
Absolutely. Total double standard. Just
Yep.
ridiculous.
It's unbelievable.
They're going to do it again. I think we should go with a paper ballots like the caucus did. Right? Write your thing down.
Right.
Goes in the fire.
Where did I hear some crazy number about the paper ballots last election? Like some amazing percentage of paper ballots, especially for Democrats, were filed ahead of time. Like over 50% or something. Just a crazy amount of ballots. Like,
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
how can there be no questions? Where are they? What are they doing? You know, how come they can't count them until the last minute? It's just, it's set up to look like a scam. That's the problem.
Well, we talked about this last show, and like, what is the Republican Party doing to prevent this?
Got to fight dirty.
What's the GOP chairman? What's her name? I can't
worthless.
remember her name.
They're just weak. Really, they are. They're weak.
I think
It's
part
a
of
weak
what
party.
it is, and I think part of what it is because they've been lackadaisical for the past generation at least, and they weren't expecting people to be this corrupt out in public, right?
Well, because I don't think the Republicans would ever think about doing this stuff.
No, that's the problem. So they're trying to fight fire with something else, and it's
It's not working.
We're out there in
They're
plain
trying to
sight.
fight fire with, I don't know, like
Pea shooters.
moral behavior or whatever.
Right.
Then you have Anthony's girl, Fannie.
Who?
Fannie Willis.
Oh, Fanny. She's a Fanny.
So,
She's a Fanny of mine.
so many of us were stunned by Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis's decision last August to prosecute former President Donald Trump and 18 co-defendants under Georgia's Racketeer Influence and Corruption Organizations Act. The motion filed last week by Georgia attorney Ashley Merchant, who represents co-defendant Michael Roman, a former Trump campaign official, alleges that Willis has engaged in improper, clandestine personal relationship with Nathan Wade. This is the guy she gave almost $1 million to this guy, and then he takes her out on vacation. So no conflict.
Nothing wrong there.
Just
No
friends.
questions about that.
They say the prosecutor says the filing states that Willis hired Wade without obtaining approval from the Fulton County Commission, which is required by state law. Therefore, according to the motion, the entire prosecution is invalid and unconstitutional. The document alleges Willis hired Wade because she was romantically involved with him. In fact, their romantic relationship predates Wade's hiring, according to the filing, which also alleges that Willis and Wade have benefited financially from the approximately $650 million in compensation Wade has received for his services since January 22. Wade has used his income to take Willis on lavish vacations to Napa, California, and to resorts in Florida and the Caribbean. So this is
Another.
Sounds like Anthony.
going on vacation.
Lavish vacations.
It says it gets worse. According to Wall Street Journal, hours before Merchant filed her motion, Willis was served at her office with a subpoena to testify in Wade's divorce case. So now she's involved in her boyfriend's divorce case. A Heritage Foundation senior fellow, Hans von Spakovsky, a former member of the Federal Election Commission, noted this, quote, ostensibly would mean that another prosecutor's office would take over the case and put fresh eyes on the entire theory of prosecution. He explained, if the allegations are substantiated by the trial judge, Willis not only may have violated professional ethics rules, but both state and federal laws. The development could even jeopardize the validity of the prosecution. It goes on and on. They're basically calling her out now. Finally, we're starting to get it in the press that she's really being called out. And this is the woman who is trying to prosecute Trump for what?
Anything. Does it matter?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. No. And then another interesting thing about this particular story, and me and Anthony and I were talking about this. She uses race to try to get out of it, right? Yeah. So she goes. She says, it says Willis broke her silence in the allegations in a 35-minute speech to parishioners at the Big Bethel AME Church in Atlanta on Sunday. Addressing her remarks to God, she predictably played the race card. Willis said she had hired a white woman, a white man, and a black man to prosecute the case, but claimed that the black man was the only one whose qualifications were being challenged. God isn't
Paid him $1 million.
God isn't.
How much did the white people get?
Right, exactly. She says, God, isn't it them who's playing the race card when they only question one? So although she did not mention Wade by name, she defended the black man's impeccable credentials. She said, the black man, quote, the black man I chose has been a judge for more than 10 years, runs a private practice more than 20 years, represented business and civil litigation, served as a prosecutor, criminal defense lawyer, special assistant, attorney general, blah, blah, blah.
And he's my boyfriend.
Yeah, she says, I'm just asking, God, is it that some will never see a black man as qualified, no matter his achievements?
Oh, my God.
So this is all...
I'm asking God. Okay, let's all wait for the answer.
Right. But the idea is
He's going to send a telegram any day now.
Right. But
It's coming.
it's always racism when they can't get out of it. When they don't want to be held accountable, it's racism.
How about the answer from God is yes, we're going to question this person and find out what's going on.
And when I say
Why is
they,
that
I
not a
mean
valid
Democrats. When I say they, I mean Democrats. It's
know
what
you
they do. It's just what they do. So yeah. So I don't know. What are your thoughts?
answer?
If that was anybody else, they'd have their law degree. It'd be
Well,
revoked.
Kamala's vice president, so how does that ever happen?
She didn't learn. Listen, her knees got real dirty getting that. Wow. There's no way. That woman is not smart enough to have
She's
a
got
law
a
degree.
subscription for knee pads at the Home
There's
Depot
no
every
way.
month.
There was some real good stuff going on to get that degree. Because you can't be that stupid and be a lawyer.
Video at
Can't be.
11.
Can't be. Wasn't she a DA?
Oh yeah, big time. Horrible.
I got one other thing, and then we're going to get to Anthony's story. Anthony, you want to talk about the Hochul and her migrants, but let me just get to something real quick. Explosive new evidence suggests a J6 pipe bomb threats were part of a plot to disrupt the 2020 election challenges. Is this the missing link in the J6 plot to set up former President Trump and his supporters? According to released J6 surveillance footage, the Secret Service and D.C. Metro Police casually completed their lunches before responding to the discovery of a viable explosive device at the Democratic National Committee headquarters by a person previously characterized as a passerby. This is the important part of this. So this person is supposed to be a passerby, except the passerby was actually a plainclothes U.S. Capitol Police officer, as confirmed by Revolver News and Blaze Media. The FBI, Secret Service, U.S. Capitol Police, and D.C. Metro Police response to the alleged pipe bomb threat at the DNC on January 6 raises profound new questions about a cover-up that has the potential to shake Americans' views of their own government to its very core. As seen in resurfaced video footage originally released by Representative Thomas Massey, Republican from Kentucky, the Secret Service and D.C. Metro Police were unusually lax in their response to the DNC pipe bomb threat, almost as if they knew it was knew what it was. So why is this important? Because a J6 pipe bomb threat is a critical aspect of the argument that the disruption of the 2020 election challenges was all planned. What are your thoughts?
Sounds like a scam to me. Why? It just looks bad, right? At every turn, it just looks terrible. They know that.
So they tried to blow up their own place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they care? I don't
But
even
wait,
know.
how is that not national news? Oh, that's right. The Republicans weren't involved. Now, what if it did blow up? Who would they blame?
Trump.
Yeah.
MAGA?
Trump and his MAGA
Yeah.
MAGA supporters.
Mega Magas.
The
All the
Mega
Mega
Magas.
Magas out there.
The MAGA bombers. The MAGA bombers. It's really just the Democrats. So
Wow.
you wanted to talk about your girl Hochul.
Oh, Kathy.
Old Kathy.
Oh, rat face.
Rat face.
So Ratface is at it again, people.
All right, what's up with Rat Face?
Wow.
Well, in her $233 billion state budget, she wants to give the migrants $2.4 billion.
Wait, how much is the overall budget?
$233 billion.
$233 billion, and she wants to give $2.5 billion to her voter,
migrant
to her
crisis.
future voters.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, she wants to give them work visas too, so they can work. Because she said they're only viable for what do you call it, healthcare and lawn care?
I don't know how that works.
Yeah. That sounds racist, doesn't it? Yeah. So we're going to be funding migrants in New York City, and we're giving them $2.4 billion.
So if you were living in New York, what
It's
would you
the
think about
ease
that?
the
State
migrant
or city?
spring.
Either, right?
Well, we
We live in New York. What do you think about it?
I don't. I think it's a total violation. You feel like completely violated because the federal government has leverage over you, and the state government for that matter, to take your money out of your income, and if you don't pay it, they can. I mean, if you don't pay what their audit, comes up with, then you can literally be sent to jail. But they create the policies to steal your money.
Right.
And if you refuse to pay it, you could go to jail. It's not fair. So this is why a lot of people are moving out.
That's why this will always be a Democratic-run state, because there's not enough Republicans to vote anymore. They're all gone.
They're leaving.
I think 1 million have left so far since 2020.
I know
1 million,
few myself.
and they ain't liberals leaving.
No.
They got it too good here. So $2.4 billion. How long is that going to last? They said there's 70,000 of them in New York. Where are you putting these people?
Well,
They want to build housing now too. She wants to build housing.
don't you love it when they say that they're trying to get the people to put them up in their own personal homes?
Yeah, we'll see how
Yeah,
that
that's
works
what I
out.
want.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
You don't want it. The thing is, the people that want it to happen, they don't want it either. Nobody wants it.
Well, New York City Mayor Eric Adams was asking people to, now it's time that we have to step up and start taking them into your home. So if you have an extra room or an extra suite, take in a migrant family.
Oh yeah, that's what we're.
So Eric Adams, are you taking in a migrant? How many people have you taken in, Eric Adams?
We know how that went at Martha's Vineyard. 20 minutes later, they were on a bus on their way out.
Well, see, that was genius, though, sending those people there, because that was definitely like, this is what's going to be happening. Look, poke you in the eye and see how you react. And then all over the country, these cities are exploding with migrants that they can't house, can't take care of. I think Trump should put them all up in Trump Tower or something and stick it right back in their eye. Like, I'm going to help out here. Look at that.
You got to pay me.
Yeah, we got to pay me. If
$500
he gets
a night.
paid.
Yeah, so if Trump gets if they have to pay Trump money.
How funny would
that's
that
a good,
be?
that's
See,
a
they
funny
complain
thing.
about Trump when he was doing things, people would stay at his resorts. And he goes, yeah, they stay there because they're the best places to stay. That's why they're staying there. He goes, and I'm getting paid because that's what I do that's my business. But
So
that would be
Trump could
fun.
have an empty hotel or whatever, and he could say, or empty certain number of floors, let's say. I didn't hear that. What was that? So Trump could have a bunch of floors, and he could say, okay, I'll do the right thing. Bring them in as long as you pay me whatever it was, $700. Yeah.
Right.
And then the city of New York and the state of New York has to literally pay Trump. They would love.
Put him up in Las Vegas, give him like a $200 gambling card to go out and stuff, and
Did we get through our? We made it just in time. We got through that. We've got a ton more stuff coming up. We got a lot of cool stuff. So stick around. Right back after this. Check out our sponsor.
The Cali Key removes your AR from the definition of an assault weapon. It lets you keep your rifle with all its features, avoid registration hassles, and transport in hostile jurisdictions. The Cali Key also lets you hunt in jurisdictions like Pennsylvania and enhances long-range precision shooting. Cali Key's expert legal opinions empower informed decisions, and sales help grassroots Second Amendment organizations. Cali Key is your tool to keep and equip your AR, empower yourself, and defend your civil rights.
The media and politicians create terms like gun violence and ghost gun and assault weapon to change the narrative around guns in America. The entire anti-gun fear campaign is built on the reactive emotions of people who don't know any better. And the media seeks their support for gun restrictions. In Good Gun, Bad Guy, I give you the behind-the-scenes look into the mind of the anti-gun radical, because before we can defeat them, we need to understand their tactics. Good Gun, Bad Guy 2 exposes the media strategies used to create a perpetual state of irrational gun fear and hatred toward gun owners. Good Gun, Bad Guy 3 reveals the political motives behind the gun grab, why the left wants an unarmed population, and what we can do to thwart their efforts. The anti-Second Amendment radicals started this evil game. Good Gun, Bad Guy is the rule book they hoped you would never see. Go to goodgunbadguy.com to get your copy or purchase the entire series.
All right, so we're back, and we have this. I want to read a little bit from this article by Breitbart. Joe Biden is urging Republicans to stop weaponizing his decision to allow several million economic migrants to cross the southern border, which he emphasized at a meeting of mayors at the White House on Friday. He said, next week we're going to be able to work out something, at least in Seattle, and I'm hopeful it's going to be a bipartisan package the Senate is going to pass, he told the attendees. He added, now the question is for House Speaker and House Republicans, are they ready to act as well? They have to choose whether they want to solve a problem or keep weaponizing issues to score political points against the president. So it's just so twisted and backwards, right?
I just had a picture when you said how he's talking about that. It's like, okay, you get your bathtub in your house, right? And the water's leaking in and it's filling up and filling up. So Joe's running around trying to find cups and buckets in order to bail them out and stick them places all over the place. And the water keeps coming in and coming in and coming in.
Well,
so stupid.
Don't you love, though, how he blames this on Republicans?
That's ridiculous.
He's only
Stop it, and it won't have to worry about it.
He's only doing it because it's an election year. And he wants to put a Band-Aid on something to make himself look good. That's all he's doing.
Well, during the last 3 years, Biden and his deputies have admitted roughly 5 million illegal immigrants, I call them illegal trespassers, alongside about 3 million legal immigrants. I'm not sure exactly what that means. I'm assuming that means 3 million people came in the right way, 5 million the wrong. His flood of migrants, approximately 1 legal migrant for every 2 American births. So think about that. Has suppressed American wages and spiked their housing costs. So Biden's massive inflow has created a massive problem for his 24 election campaign. For example, 2 polls show that more than half of Americans say his inflow can be described as an invasion. We said that last week. It's exactly what it is. All you got to do is see the videos, and it's an invasion. In January, a 37% plurality recently told CBS that migration makes the country worse off. So, but yet it's Republicans' fault. So,
Right.
Makes sense, right?
In some twisted form, it makes sense. If you've already decided what you're going to believe, you know what I mean? But I don't know how anybody that can do any kind of math can look at that and say, oh, this is going to be okay. Where are they going to go? What are you going to do? It's going to overflow everything. And
I'd like to know where they are.
well, that's what I would like to know.
That's
Where
5
are
million.
they?
Is a lot of people.
We should have a chart with flights and buses and showing where all these people are being shipped to. Dan, you should get on that.
What am I going to do? Make charts
Make
now?
charts.
Is that my new
I
job?
always need a chart. Charts always better.
They say, so let me be clear. My team has been at the table for weeks now with a bipartisan group of senators to negotiate a deal, including border, because I believe we need significant policy changes, including changes. What they want is they want all this money for Ukraine, and they want to keep the border open.
Oh, why are those two things tied together?
Because that's what they do. It's their way of negotiating.
It's insane.
I know, because, see, they know, like Democrats know that Republicans would never vote for their open border. So they put in stuff that maybe Republicans would want or vice versa, and that's their way of negotiating. But I think everything should be on its own bill, right?
Everything should be. That's a big problem overall in the government.
You know how they have those, the bills that are like
omnibus bills where they got
5,000 pages?
Right.
You know what they should slip in there one time? Term limits.
Exactly.
Slip it right in there on page 2,550.
3,064. Stick it in there.
Just stick it right in there. They don't. There's no way anyone's reading 5,000 pages of anything.
The good news is, and we have a little clip coming up here, but the good news is that some people who may have voted for Crooked Joe are finally realizing that they screwed up.
Is there actually people who voted for him?
Yeah, watch this.
Nobody.
What happens when you vote because you're so damn desperate you want a woman in office? The only reason why Joe that got his as president is because of that glitch Kamala. Everybody was so desperate to put a black woman, which she ain't black, as vice president. And now the whole country up. The whole country. How the hell you bring in all these illegals and don't know where to put them? Just for votes. Because the dad folks voting didn't work. We done caught on to that. And now y'all gonna take all them children out of school. Why the did y'all choose Chicago?
So now most of them children are black children, got to sit at home because y'all don't, man, y'all getting on my motherfucking nerve. Y'all sit up there doing this shit to mostly minority black children, but Trump the racist. No, you are racist. I'm getting sick of this shit for real. I'm dead serious. Y'all better fix this. What about the parents? All those black people that fund and keep the goddamn school open, their children got to sit the fuck at home and they got to figure out what the fuck to do. How the fuck they supposed to work? I'm telling you, Joe and Ho, y'all got to fucking go. I'm fixing to march to the United States government. I'm for real. I'm fixing to join Trump because ain't no way, Ho. Ain't no way. Fix this.
Well, you can tell she's a crazy liberal, but she kind of woke up.
She kind of woke up.
I like her eyelashes.
That's a person that's really upset. I mean,
Well, but this is how it is, and this is another argument that it's hard to make with people. When it becomes personal, she's pissed.
Yeah.
When it's not personal, oh well, you know, it's this.
Somebody else got to deal with it, right? It's not my problem.
You got to make things personal when they need to be. You know, you need to feel it hit home sometimes, and that's hard to do with people that will not even go there. You know, if you say, look at this woman, they go, oh, you're a Trump supporter. Wait a minute. Right. That's got nothing to do with Trump. That's got to do with what this liberal woman actually thinks in the real world on the ground.
Well, she was referring to how they emptied a school to put the illegals in.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So these kids now have to go stay home. And what she's making the point is that what are the parents going to do all of a sudden, just like that? Kids have to stay home. The parents might have jobs or whatever, and they can't.
They don't care about the citizens. Who cares? It's disgusting.
So with all this stuff going on, it seems that Democrats are starting to get scared as they look ahead at 2024 for the presidential election. They understand that they were misled by their party for the purpose of putting Biden in office, and they're starting to show signs of fear and embarrassment. Now watch this clip.
It's the election. Let's just accept it, because that's where we're at. Just accept it, okay? No, but we have to, because the DNC has decided for us. You don't have a voice if you're a Democratic voter. You must accept, and he's going to lose to Trump. So just accept where we're at. I'm not going to wait until Election Day, nearly a year from today, and pretend like I'm shocked at the results. We all see it coming. We're all on the Titanic. The iceberg is straight ahead and we're barreling toward it. So I don't know what to do because I don't have any control over the situation, Cenk. None of us do. None of us have any power over the DNC and the incredibly irresponsible and selfish conduct that they're engaging in right now as we speak. We're going to lose the election.
Now these two, that's Cenk, what's his name? You know who I'm...
Uyghur.
Yeah. So, and they're from Young Turks.
Young Turks.
So they are about as far left as you get.
Right.
And you can see what's happening. They're getting scared. They're getting angry. And they know that they've been lied to. And this is the great part of this. Democrats are starting to recognize that the party has been feeding them a whole line of crap about everything. And hopefully they start to realize it about gun control and about the climate hoax and all the stuff, the border and everything. But they're starting to realize that Biden was pushed on them against their will, and they have no choice. And now they realize they have no choice nothing to do about it.
They knew they were going to cheat, those two. They knew they cheated.
I'll bet you they did.
They knew.
Yeah. And they loved it when they were winning. Oh, yeah, everything's great. We're going to cheat. We're going to do all this stuff. And we're going to win. And we got Joe. Yeah, we got Joe in office. And now look at them. That's good. What we just saw there.
Well, they got almost a whole year, this whole election cycle coming up where all this stuff that the first time it happened, nobody knew what was going on, right? During COVID and stuff, we didn't know all this stuff until afterwards when people started saying, well, let's look at this, let's look at this. Now, there's all kinds of right-wing media sources that are right on this stuff. So this stuff happens, and they're bringing it up and bringing it up and bringing it up. It's just what you got to do, right? That's the way we got to fight back.
And now Joe is so weak. In this next clip, we'll see Democrat desperation even clearer when Obama comes out and does a promo clip with the mentally incapacitated Joe Biden as a way of reminding Dem voters that he's still involved. I believe he's trying to remind the Democrat voters that he's still involved because Joe is such a pathetic mess. Now, this may be a message to voters that Obama has been running things behind the scenes all along. Watch this.
Our democracy depends on you.
There's that word.
It really does, folks. That's no joke.
That's why we need you. We need your help to ensure Joe's leadership continues to guide us forward. We know the other side won't rest, so we can't either. Your donation will help give Joe and Kamala's campaign the resources it needs.
Let's make history again. Chip in now. Let's secure a brighter future together.
What an idiot.
Joe and Ho.
So if Obama thinks that the country's doing well with him at the helm, then people are really stupid. He's making himself look stupid right now.
Well, why would you got to think about why would Obama do that video?
Because he wants to finish what he started.
He wants to keep Joe in.
He wants to destroy. No, he wants to finish destroying the country.
Prime it up for Big Mike.
It looks to me like they're going to be pushing Joe through. That's what
I don't think. Isn't that amazing though? I mean, come on. I mean,
because why would Obama come out and do that if Mike was coming in?
I agree. Again, I think just to keep people on board. The thing of it is, it's only January. We get this whole freaking year to come through where people are going to see, unless they're really intentionally burying their head in the sand, they have to see how bad is he, how incapacitated is Biden right there. If you think he's normal,
look at his eyes. You can tell there's something wrong with him. He has dementia.
Questions. It's terrible.
They'll never tell you he has it, but he's been diagnosed already. There's no way. You see his face?
Oh, he's terrible. And I feel bad for him. I feel bad for everybody. But
look at a photo of him 2 years ago. Totally different person.
I agree. When he's falling off the bike.
It's elderly abuse. They're using him as a puppet. He doesn't even know his name. If you ask him who he is, he'd be like, "Oh, who am I?"
Yeah, no, he's clueless.
But Obama just wants to finish what he started.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. And I also think that was Obama coming out to the public and saying, look, I'm still here. Mm-hmm. I'm still behind Joe. I'm still doing stuff. Help
me ruin the world.
Help me continue ruining the country. I know you think Joe's a complete idiot, but don't worry. I'm here. I'm actually making the decision.
He's really making himself look stupid because if you're the one running the country, then you're not doing a great job because you didn't do it for 8 years when you were here anyway.
Well, that's true too.
Joe's like, they're both mental.
I want to talk about liberal brainwashing because it's negatively affecting the critical thinking of our youth. Here's an article from Fox News by Newt Gingrich. It's called 3 Generations of Brainwashing Are Paying Off for the Left. And he talks about as we watch radicals tear down statues, deface monuments, intimidate people who want to stand for a national anthem, it's utterly clear that many Americans today hate America. People ask how we've gotten to this point, and he says all of this results from 3 generations of brainwashing going back to at least Herbert Marcuse, the German-born University of California, San Diego professor who taught young Americans the philosophical foundation of Marxism in the 1960s. As early as 1972, Theodore White was warning that the liberal ideology was becoming a liberal theology, and dissent was less and less acceptable to the left. So we watched the hard left, the American-hating totalitarians who want to define acceptable speech as they took over the academic world. College boards made up of supposedly sound community leaders refused to fight. Public universities and colleges continued to hire vehement anti-American professors. The state legislatures and governors refused to fight. Alumni continued to give to schools which were teaching their own children and grandchildren to despise them. Right. So lots of brainwashing going on, and I think we have a picture just as an example of some of that brainwashing when it comes to the abortion.
I wish to.
You know, I looked at this picture when I first saw it, and I'm like, what a stupid little idiot. But when you think about this photo and you look at this photo, that's mental disorder. There's something wrong with that child.
Suicidal.
It's suicidal. Yeah, she's talking about her own death, really. How does that happen?
Great job, Mom.
How does it get on the news? You know what I mean? It's like, why would anybody? They would take her and put her someplace normally, right? Put her in for observation.
At least get her looked at.
But that's the 3 generations of indoctrination or brainwashing, as Newt Gingrich was talking about. They're so caught up in these ideas that the Democrats are pushing that they take it on and they believe this stuff is true. And then they're willing to make life-changing decisions that affect not only their life, but other people's lives because they're in such indoctrinated belief on these topics. And that you can use any of the any of the left-wing topics. Talk about the LGB stuff, the tranny stuff, the border stuff, guns, just all the craziness that they believe in. But they believe it.
And they just believe it. You don't have to persuade them. They're already programmed. That's what the program. That's been generational, where you just believe what they. And this is the argument again. And it's so. First of all, I'm a firm believer that most people that make these kind of arguments have no ability to run any kind of numbers on anything. They don't know where anything's going. You can't get them to talk about where it's going. Project 5 years. If you did this with everybody, where would that put us? Can't get them to do that. But when things like that are personal, and you have a young woman advocating for her own suicide. Can you chart that out for me? Because I don't know where that goes.
Then we put it on TV.
Then they put it on TV.
The sign said, I wish my mother aborted me. Can you believe this?
Should have been a Seinfeld episode.
That was my kid, and she came home, I'd smack her. Yeah.
That's part of the problem. They don't get disciplined.
I'm like, well, if you want to get aborted, guess what? You don't live here anymore.
Yeah, get the hell out.
Fix your own brakes.
There you go. Fix anything you want. Get out.
Brakes.
And don't take anything because I bought it all. So
fix your own.
So actually, get naked, and you're going to go abort yourself out the front door, just the way you came out of my vagina.
It's cold out.
You're gone.
Go behind that tree up there.
Oh my God!
You're going to walk out of here naked, like you came into the world. Bye. That's how that would go.
And yet you love her,
stupid kid.
Okay, but it's not all bad though.
Oh boy.
Occasionally, society has a way of working things out.
Oh.
In this next photo, you'll see what can happen to brainwashed commies when they come face to face with real American kids who have not been brainwashed. Apparently, this particular liberal Antifa kid got duct taped to a trash can and had an adult toy strapped to his head.
See, that's how you deal with them right there.
That's how you do it. Yeah. So there's still some good news. Wait, he's got a dildo stuck to his head.
That's how you do it.
I'm a big fan of that. I think that should be done more often to some of these idiots. But because society has lost its mind, obviously we see this, and no one's calling out the insanity. We have a new segment on the show called There she is. So in this Triggered, we see the entitlement of the political left. Now, this man seems to believe that because he has been pirating his neighbor's Wi-Fi, you know this one, right?
I know this guy.
For 2 years, that he should be able to continue, and he gets angry with the Wi-Fi owner for changing his password and blocking out the freeloader. Check this clip.
Hey.
I live next door. I've got problems with the Wi-Fi.
Okay, so why are you here to me?
Well, it's your Wi-Fi, isn't it? Have you done so?
Okay, but I've not got a problem with my Wi-Fi.
Well, I've got problems with your Wi-Fi. You've put a password on it.
What do you mean?
Look, how long have I been here now? I've been here 2 years. I've happily used the Wi-Fi, and now I see that you've put a password on it, and I can't use it. I think you're being unreasonable.
Sorry, what?
We can't figure it out. I was like, what?
Sorry. Wait, what? What did you say?
Look, it's very simple. You have Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah, I have Wi-Fi, yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, I've been happily using your Wi-Fi now for a couple of years, and all of a sudden you put a password on it, and I've got no access. I tell you what, you let me have your password, and that's the end of the problem.
Yeah,
but kick rocks, Bob.
Hold a minute, you've been using my Wi-Fi?
Well, I don't know how much of your Wi-Fi it is. I mean, it's a signal, isn't it? Right? Well, the signal doesn't remain just within your four walls. So what comes out here is public.
Can you believe that justification? Because it's a signal. Nobody owns it.
It's public.
Except one guy's paying for it.
Unbelievable.
So just give me your password and problem solved. I would open the door and punch them in the nose.
I know. My God.
That's the audacity of somebody coming to your house and ringing your doorbell and saying, dude, you put a password on your crap. I need to have it.
I'm entitled to it. I've been happily using it for 2 years.
Well, let's see. The Wi-Fi is $75, so you got $38.50 you don't need because you got to pay half.
Just put this sign on your front door with a password on it. Ratface 2024.
Jesus, people are funny.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the cancel culture. Ever since I started to notice cancel culture in social media and saw the alternative social media sites like Rumble and Getter and others start to pop up, I knew the left was making a big mistake. I would say they're actually making conservatives stronger by forcing us to create our own infrastructure, our own platforms and things like that. But Brett Weinstein, on Tucker Carlson's show, is recognizing the same thing. We may be getting closer to some sort of ideological battle, maybe even a civil war of sorts. Watch this.
People somehow put aside the obvious danger to their ability to earn and maybe to their lives of saying what needs to be said, then we greatly outnumber those we are pitted against. They are ferociously powerful, but I would also point out this interesting error. So I call the force that we're up against Goliath, just so I remember what the battle is. Goliath made a terrible mistake, and it made it most egregiously during COVID, which is it took all of the competent people, took all of the courageous, and it shoved them out of the institutions where they were hanging on. And it created, in so doing, the dream team. Created every player you could possibly want on your team to fight some historic battle against a terrible evil. All of those people are now at least somewhat awake. They've now been picked on by the same enemy. And yeah, all right, we're outgunned. It has a tremendous amount of power, but we've got all of the people who know how to think. So I hate to say it, or maybe I like to say it, but I don't think it's a slam dunk, but I like our odds.
Pretty interesting, huh?
First of all, Brett Weinstein and his wife, Heather Heying, are on the Dark Horse podcast, if anybody's interested in that. Yeah. They're both evolutionary biologists, and they deal with this stuff every week. They just
great podcast.
And have Robert Malone and other people, and Russell Brand. They have, but like the one thing he said that is really true is that all the people that know how to think are now gravitating towards one side because there's questions there. And people that know how to think want to find out what the questions are.
And people who know how to think are the ones that are going to solve the problems and ultimately will win.
Because they're willing to ask questions. Yeah. That's the whole stifling effect of this whole wave of consciousness that we have going on, where you're not supposed to question anything you see. You decide that this is the news you're going to watch, and that's what you believe, and anybody that disagrees is just, a Trump supporter. And that just nullifies anything else that might be going on out there. But people are getting fed up.
Well, you got to wonder if these lefties who are still over there watching what's happening, if they're starting to think, am I on the wrong side? Because over there they're starting to actually build stuff. They're actually figuring out problems. They're actually pointing out the issues. Over here, we're not. We're just yelling at Trump.
Well, and again,
that's what they're doing, right?
Issues, issue by issue, is what we have to do, so that it becomes overwhelming. Where there's so many questions that after a while you can't ignore the questions. You have to at least look at the questions. That's the hard part, is getting somebody to take the first step. Like, you believe this, and this. Okay, what if there's one thing over here that is different from what you believe? Would you look at that? That's the hard part.
No, they don't look. They believe everything is.
So how do you handle this stuff?
Smack them.
You come home from dinner. You're like,
Anthony smacks them. But
they're silly people.
Silly.
You got to think that there's some people on the left who are recognizing the insanity that their political party is pushing, like all the pedophilia and all that stuff. So speaking of that, I want everyone to see what exactly the pedophilia community, along with the liberal progressive parents, are doing to children that they can get their hands on. Watch this video. Look at this guy. Little kids. Somebody needs to get the hell beat out of them.
Snipers.
Because we can't legally beat the hell out of them. I don't know. All we can do is give them a knuckle sandwich.
Knuckle sandwich.
I hear Danny laughing in the control. But seriously, what kind of parent?
It's ridiculous. And it's unnecessary. What purpose does that serve? Of all the things kids need to learn in order to be productive and not out of their minds going forward in the crazy world that we have, how is that helpful? It's just insane.
Well, Seattle had a, undergarment train ride day, like where you just wear underwear, which makes no sense to me. Who the hell is going to do that? There was a photo of a kid holding someone's dildo.
Cool.
And there was a guy across the way that had a strap on. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Parents,
why would you let your kid hold someone's dildo that was probably up someone's... come on.
Here we go. There we go.
God, what the hell's wrong with these people? Who has that anyway?
I don't know.
Who's going to go on a train in a bra and underwear? Really? There was guys wearing leather, like ball gags. I mean, what? Seriously.
I think these people are sick. They should be arrested. They should be punished for this.
But leave your hobby in the house.
I agree.
They're corrupting kids, and they should be punished for it, whether it's the parent or not.
Well, there used to be public decency laws. And people
that's all out
that.
the window.
That's all out the
liberal
window.
cities.
You can't do anything.
New York City, ever been on a subway in New York lately?
I have.
Lately?
No, not lately.
Yeah, go down there lately now. It's a freak show. There was a guy that had a portable pool filled with water, and he's sitting in it.
On the subway?
On the subway.
What the hell's wrong?
Was it warm? Did it have a heater?
Then there was a guy in a hammock. I mean, what
on a subway?
On a subway.
He set up a hammock on the poles,
and he got in the hammock and he's swinging. While I'm like, what
he had a long ride.
People are you know what? It's literally insanity. These people they don't know how to behave in public. I mean,
then there's a video of a guy sleeping, right? And he had crumbs on him, and there's a rat crawling up, and he's like nibbling on his ear. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Ben.
Oh. What kind of crumbs was it? Cracker?
I don't even know, but the rat
Cookies?
just crawled up and he's rolling around his head. And the guy's out cold. Like, how do you not know there's a rat walking on you?
I don't know.
I think we need to break New York off from everywhere else and just let it float away.
I'm going to jump off and go to another state before we do that. It's crazy that we have to actually live with these insane people who should be in some sort of mental institution.
Because forever it was insane, right? Those were the crazy people.
But they're out running around now.
Yeah, we used to
medicate them. They don't even get
They used to stay
anymore.
in the basement. Now they're out in the public and they're doing all their crazy stuff out in public. And liberals are praising them.
If you walk down the street in a ball gag and leather suit, you go to jail.
And if you do that stuff
Not
to
anymore.
kids, it's just it's awful. It's awful. Oh my God. All right. Well, that's it. That's all we got time for. More insanity next week. I can promise you that. Thanks for watching Loaded Mic on Rumble. We're also on Ops Lens, Right America Media, Simul TV, and the Key Radio Network. As far as the podcast, you can catch the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just look for the Loaded Mic. My name is Dan Wass, and remember, the Second Amendment is not a privilege. It's your right